everyone, it's Rachel from Sweet and Simple Home. Thanks so much for coming by my channel today. Today we are talking all things back to school. So 'tis the season. It is time to go back to school. We are going back to school in just a few short days, and I happen to be kind of sick. I got a summer cold, and you can probably hear it in my voice, see it on my face, but I'm well enough today to at least sit down and talk to you guys about all the little things I've been doing for back to school. If you caught my last video, then you already know the big news, but I'm going back to work this year at my kids' school. So this school year is going to be a big deal for our family, as my youngest will be starting kindergarten and I'll be working at the school as well. So I'll link to that video down below if you want all the details about my new job. I've really been working hard on back to school this year because I know this is going to be such a big transition on so many different levels. Whether you have kids that are in high school or preschool or you homeschool, this is such a big time of transition. So all these little things that we as moms and caretakers do for our kiddos really help smooth things out and kind of iron out some of the wrinkles of this time. So let's dive into some of the things I've been doing, and hopefully you can take a few nuggets and apply it to your back to school time. Here's how I approach back to school. I think in terms of priorities. So if my kids go to school and maybe they're short on a few school supplies, but they're fully dressed, have their backpacks, the correct shoes, and all that sort of thing, they can still be at school, and I can communicate to the teacher that we're still in the process of getting supplies and they'll still make it through the day. But if I don't have my ducks in a row as far as their clothing, their backpack, their shoes, and how they're getting to school, when and where, all those sorts of details, they can't have a successful first day. So for me, those supplies, although I think that's what a lot of people think about is the supplies, they're actually further down on my priority list. I start with schedules. I read through all the info from the schools telling me the dates, the back to school dates, the different orientations, the different meetings that I should be aware of and attend. And I also read through any information that I've gotten directly from my kids' teachers that give any directions or clarification on the needs for the specific classrooms. So for me, just getting that all in the planner and getting it all clear, what the different activities are that my kids are going to do, getting them signed up and all that paperwork done now. Okay, so now that we know our schedule, I also went through and thought through rides. Who's taking my kids, who's picking them up, are we doing carpool, all those sorts of things, connecting with other moms if I need to, and working out ride situations. So the next step for me, now that I know the dates and how they're getting to school, it's what are they going to be wearing, because they can go to school without supplies, they can't go to school without clothes. So we're blessed to go to a school where the kids are required to wear uniforms. I am a pro uniform mom, and here's why. My kids know every day what they're going to wear, what the expectation is. It is very, very clear, and there's no room for them to feel insecure about whether or not they're prepared, because it's very clear from the school what it takes to be prepared. For me as the mom, I can just go, okay, I need this many of that, check, 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 and practically it's very useful. What I love to do is I love to start out with a does it still fit, try it on party, just like clapping and having them turn around and all this kind of stuff. And I know it sounds silly, but it does make it fun for them and maybe a little bit less of a chore. Because my kids wear uniforms, I took what didn't still fit them and I brought it to the school uniform closet, and those items got sold to help other families, and I bought from other families who brought their clothes. So this year, I think I only bought things like shoes and undergarments from retail, and everything else I bought from other families, and I love that. Our school offers that, and I believe a lot of schools do have something like that if you have uniforms, so that's a great way to cut the cost. So once I've got all the ducks in the row as far as their clothing, I then go to tending the clothing. So does anything need a stain treatment? Like if we're reusing a sweater, does it need the buttons sewed back on? So other clothing prep things for me are things like ironing. I have a lot of khaki pants to iron for my two boys. So I also tried out something new this year. I tried at-home dry cleaning, where I purchased this Woolite dryer home dry cleaning set. I purchased this product on Amazon, not sponsored at all, but I found it to be really, really helpful because we have like suit jackets and coats and things like that. So I did this at home version and thought it worked really, really well. And it was really affordable. It was only $10 for this box on Amazon, and I can do up to 30 garments for a box, which for me, that's great. That'll last me the school year. And I'll link to that product down below because I'm sure I'm not the only mom who's watching blazers and wool coats and needs this, so I'll link to that. All right, let's talk supplies because I think that's what a lot of people automatically go to when it comes to back to school. One of the things I highly recommend is to not go to the store without having first gone through what you already have. So I've seen a lot of stores will have this display kind of at the front with a different list for the different schools tucked into it for your convenience, so you can go and just grab that list and go shopping. But the problem with doing it that way is often you'll pick up things that you already have instead of getting the list from the school website or, you know, from the teacher and going through it with your child at home and then seeing what you actually do need. For example, things like rulers are very easy to use from year to year. Things like pencil boxes, if they get a little goopy, you can use a magic eraser to clean them up and make them good as new. I think if you buy just a really good high quality backpack in a solid color or a simple pattern, you can use that for multiple years. And so what I did is I just took a little Dawn, mixed in with some water. I love Dawn. It does great things for backpacks. And I just gave the backpacks a little wipe down, and I found that worked great to freshen them up. We're requiring less from retail, which I think is important. And we're just really using things like we should. We should use things more efficiently. And so I like being able to pass that on to my kids as a skill as well, to be like, okay, what do we already have? What can we use? Instead of like the always buying. So I actually don't suggest that you go crazy writing your kid's name on everything, because sometimes you get to the school and they just dump all the crayons in the same box and everybody shares. Or sometimes it's that the teacher has them in a bin and she pulls out one box at a time. I found it very helpful to wait on labeling until I hear directly from the teacher what they want labeled and what they don't. So that is a pro tip as well. Don't label until you know exactly what the teacher wants, or you'll have to redo it or something like that. The next tip for me as the mom is, okay, what are they eating? What are they going to be packing for lunches? I prefer that my kids bring their own lunch. I know that there's lots of great programs out there for hot lunches, but with our kids' food allergies, we just prefer to pack our own food. And now that I'm working, I'm also packing my own lunch. There has to be a good setup and system. All I've done so far is I've made sure I have a bin for all the different lunch bags in our pantry, and I went and stocked up on containers. I showed you some of the ones that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, and I also picked up a bunch of sandwich bags and Ziploc bags. They're currently on sale right now as I'm filming this at Costco, so I stocked up. I also make sure that I've got things like ice packs and whatnot ready to go in the freezer, already frozen. So first day we're not going, oh no, where's the ice packs? They're all in the freezer ready to go. Our approach as a family is we pack lunches the night before and everything is ready to go in the morning. And things that I could bulk prepare, I've gone ahead and done. I buy carrots. They're $4 for a 10-pound bag at a store here called Winco, and I find that to be such a great deal. And I just go through and I pre-chop them into little sticks or little rounds, because some of my kids prefer the rounds, some of them prefer the sticks. And I find that the rounds I can also throw in a soup or throw in a foil pack on the grill if we're grilling that night. It took me about 20 minutes to do that whole bag. After making sure things are ready lunch packing wise, I also want to make sure that we have some freezer meals on hand, because I'm going back to work and the fall time just gets busy really quickly. With being sick, we had a day set aside on the calendar as a family for freezer cooking, and that was the day that I was running a fever and just so awfully sick. What we ended up doing was simplifying my list, and I just kind of like gave directions from a chair for who could do what, and my My husband was super helpful in this, and my 2 older kids were super helpful in this. We did things like we got chicken marinating in olive oil, lemon juice, spices, herbs from the garden, and we put a few of those bags together. That takes very little prep, but the night before I go to work, I can pull that out, put that in the fridge, get it sort of defrosted, so when we get home from work, it can be pulled out and then grilled that night for dinner. It'd be very simple. I also pre-made some meatballs, and I used a recipe from Sam the Cooking Guy's cookbook. My husband loves his YouTube channel. I think he's funny, but maybe a little crass for my taste. I'll try to remember to link it down below. Someone gifted that cookbook to my husband, but I think his meatball recipe is great. So I made a double batch of those, so my son can take them for lunch, or they can be an option for dinner as well. I do still have some things that I want to freezer cook. Now that I'm feeling better, I might give myself a few days to get all the way better, and I want to do things like muffins, granola bars, things that they can pack and eat for breakfast as well. So we'll see how that goes. If I do that, or if I am able to do that, I will try to film it for you guys. I got a lot of responses saying you'd be interested in seeing the freezer cooking. All that being said, having been sick on the day that I was supposed to do this big freezer cooking day and film it for you guys, I just had this perfect ideal in my mind of this great content and, you know, having so much to offer you guys, and I felt like so discouraged. Like, here I am, I'm making these plans, I went and bought all the food to make, and here I am, like, too sick to do it. And sometimes that just happens, and that's one of the things that we as the moms and the caretakers have to be able to do, is go, okay, I have to pivot and remain cheerful, because if something comes that throws you for a loop, there can be all sorts of wrenches that get thrown in the way with back to school time, and just being willing as the mom to go, that's okay, like, we're gonna go with it, and we're gonna make the best of it, and having a sweet attitude can make such a difference for your children and for yourself. Like, being able to say, I didn't get to cook the way I wanted to, I didn't get to make the content I wanted to, but it's all gonna be fine. And hopefully this will be a good encouragement to you that even when things don't go how you plan, your attitude can make it still a wonderful experience. So there you go. That's my encouragement. And I also realized when I sat down that this was what I was wearing last time I filmed. And I promise, it's been like a couple weeks. I just really like wearing this dress when I'm home, and the apron is my everyday apron, so there you go. All right, that is my entire list for you guys. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions or any further tips or ideas that your family uses for the back to school rush, and how you use your gifts and talents and ideas to make things flow better for your family. So you guys take care. Have a blessed back to school season. It's such an exciting time. I can't wait to hear about how your school year is going. Take care, and I'll be back with more soon.